Late last night, Donald Trump, El Presidente, Orange Man Bad, made a decision, announced it, and utterly transformed Hollywood in a way that no U.S. president has ever done before. Today, folks, we will explore what the ramifications are for a 100% tariff placed on productions happening outside the United States. Let's just say the execs of every major entertainment company this morning are making transformative change as we speak. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are so happy to have you, and good morning. It is a beautiful Monday, but not necessarily for those in Hollywood, especially if they are working overseas. Culture Casino is joining us to help break it down. Culture, this could not be bigger news. So we hope everybody out there will stick around for this one, because if you're looking for transformative moments in entertainment history, this is it. President Donald J. Trump has announced major tariffs coming down for any movie produced overseas. It will utterly transform Hollywood. Perhaps we'll get into details, but Culture first, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. I am actually a little more jocular than normal. Very excited because, well, this particular piece of news hit like a ton of bricks, and we don't even know the ramifications yet, or whether or not it's like even able to happen, to be fair.
Well, folks, let me tell you this. At this hour, if you're watching this video at the time of release, the CEOs on the West Coast who normally would still be in their pajamas, sleeping with their little teddy bears, nestled, right, dreaming of sugar plums.
Yes.
They are up, I'll guarantee you right now at this very hour, with their boards meeting, trying to figure out what the heck to do. Let's get into it. This is out of Deadline. It says, Donald Trump says he's pursuing 100% tariffs on movies produced outside the United States, calling runaway production a national security threat. This is by Ted Johnson. We're going to read the article, but first we're going to go to the man himself. It is El Trumpo, Orange Man Not So Bad. Let's see what he had to say, Culture, and then we'll get in the article and the details of it. But this is truly transformative if he goes through it in terms of Hollywood, to the point that some companies are in deep trouble and some companies are doing extremely well, and everything has changed. Here we go.
The movie tariffs.
Yeah, the movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movie-making capabilities from the United States. And I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I've done some very strong research over the last week, and we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now, you have an grossly incompetent governor that allowed that to happen. So I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, and we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. I mean, they're supporting them financially. So that's sort of a threat to our country in a sense. And it's been a very popular thing. I can tell you one thing, movie makers love it.
All right. So he says movie makers love it. Culture, Disney might not love it. Of all the studios, they might be the most damaged. And I can't wait to show you something in just a minute. Folks, we're going to show you something that is, if you think that this just happened, that he just randomly came up with this, the scheduling matters. All right, Ted Johnson has this. It says, updated with additional comments from the president. That's because they were trying to get this out. It was breaking. It says, Donald Trump said that he is ordering the U.S. Trade Representative and the Commerce Department to begin the process to impose a 100% tariff on imports of movies that are produced in quote-unquote foreign lands. Now, what we don't know yet, Culture, is, does this apply not only to streaming and theatrical, like is it both of those, or is it just theatrical? If it's streaming as well, look out, Hollywood, because what they may do here, although we don't know the details yet, what they could do is they could charge a 100% tariff on all the production costs taking place overseas. That, and when you consider, just consider, Culture, and I guess this is where we start. At this very moment, Avengers Doomsday is supposed to be filming in the UK.
Yes.
All of that money potentially could be hit with a 100% tariff if it's being the money that's spent overseas. Now, that doesn't include the money that's being spent on salaries, on payments to actors, etc. But production costs in the UK, well, that could be massive. And so we don't know yet. But if Bob Iger and his cohorts in Burbank are meeting at this very moment, they may be meeting about, can we even continue to produce Avengers Doomsday, or do we have to stop until we get more details? Culture, let's just pause there and go into that part of the conversation. Film studios don't know the details. The details aren't out there. Folks, you can read this. Well, there's so much here. Let me read what Trump said. Trump said the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the U.S. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I'm authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. Okay, now we've got that out of the way. Culture, what do they do in Disney right now? They've got Avengers Doomsday that's supposed to come out in basically 12 months. Yeah. They got to film this thing fast. And now, that sucker might, I can't even imagine what the cost would be if it's hit with a tariff like this. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's the problem. All right, so first of all, this is the very first time that the Trump administration has ever levied tariffs on a service, because technically this would be a service. This isn't an actual physical product that one would go to buy. So that's one of the first things that you're hit with. The fact that the Commerce Department and the U.S. trade delegations are being the ones that are going to decide what's actually affected by this is also something that leaves, a lot of gray area. And it's fascinating to me that this had never been thought of before, because Hollywood has been dying for, a long time by a lot of little cuts, right? Thousands of cuts. And this actually could prevent all that action. But when you decide to talk about this, you have to consider the timing, which you mentioned, which is right before we get into something really important to the stock market, Pro. All these little, what do you call them? Quarterly reports that are going to come out and are going to maybe be shocking, because what they plan to say coming up later this week, Pro, over there at Disney, may have a drastic shift in tone, let's say.
Well, let me just say that we have no idea what's going to happen folks, if you're watching this at the time of release, we have no idea what's going to happen in just a few hours with the stock market. But I can tell you this. I can tell you that this is, it's nuclear, okay? So right now we have what analysts think ahead of Disney stock earnings. That's Wednesday. And we're going to cover that live on the Valiant Renegade channel. Then we're going to have coverage on the Pro channel. That's Wednesday morning, okay? Guess what else? Okay, it's not done, because Warner Brothers has an earnings call on Thursday.
Oh.
We're not done, because Paramount has an earnings report also coming out. Yeah.
Oh.
May 8th.
Oh no.
So this is three. This is the big three, because Sony's in Japan. They don't have to do this, right? Comcast is not entirely. Culture, is this the first time you realize this bombshell he's dropped on? It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's every truly entertainment-focused Hollywood company has an earnings report coming up in 3 days. But every single one of them is going to be asked by investors. The stock market's going to go crazy. We can't tell you what to do with your stock on this, but it's got to go crazy.
and it gets bigger than that, Pro, because this is the first time there's ever been tariffs on intellectual property, which is what all of this is, which means, is it just limited to film? As you mentioned before, we were talking about it. Does this cover streaming services? I mean, they do a lot of production elsewhere. Well, does it hit Netflix because they bring stuff in from international for their streaming service?
If it's technically a movie. But here's the other thing, Culture. Disney and a bunch of these other companies just moved a lot of their animation into foreign animation studios.
Canada.
So all that money they invested. All the money that Disney just moved Pixar into Canada, basically. It's all, if this goes through, it's all wasted. It's a total loss, because They can't fully make an animated movie in Canada if it's going to get hit with 100% tariff. So this is, I mean, if you were waiting for him to unload, and the question now, Culture, and I say this kind of jokingly and kind of not. Ike Perlmutter over at Marvel is really good friends with Trump. Disney did him dirty. Do you think Ike Perlmutter, do you think Nelson Peltz went to Trump and said, you know what would be really funny? If you really want to stick it to these guys, if you really want to. I mean, I don't know. Let me show you how Grace Randolph is handling this from Beyond the Trailer, okay? Folks, go over there and subscribe to Beyond the Trailer if you want to get some Grace Randolph. Here's just a taste of it. Grace says, it seems Hollywood's plan to get Trump to create a federal tax incentive for filming in America has backfired. Instead, Trump has put a 100% tariff on any film produced outside the United States, including Hollywood's. She says, isn't Avengers Doomsday filming in London? That doubles the budget, ? And the answer to that, Culture, as we talked about on the Valiant Renegade show late last night, as this was breaking,
right?
Almost definitely not. Almost definitely, although we don't know the details, and we'll get into what we need to know now. Almost definitely would be whatever is spent overseas gets tariffed at 100%. Yeah. But so the salaries and all the stuff that takes place in America would not be, one would assume, affected by that. But it would definitely. So if Avengers Endgame cost them $700 million to produce, and let's say that $300 million of that is spent over the UK, then there's an additional $300 million added onto the budget or onto the cost. And if it's an animated movie and you're animating it in Canada, the vast majority of that money, like let's say you have a $250 million budget on an animated film in Canada. Okay. Now it costs $500 million. So you literally can't, you just basically can't make an animated film anywhere except in the US.
Right, but it also neuters bigger parties because it's going to neuter the UK and their 25% plus tax credit. This is broader than we're even thinking about right now. Consider this. Britain's built this film market and these new sound stages and everything else over there. Pinewood has expanded dramatically, mostly because of Disney. And all of a sudden there is zero incentive. It's a negative 75% to try to make your film in the UK. It takes a nice swipe at the UK market all of a sudden, and it addresses a problem we've had here in the United States when it comes to Hollywood production and earnings to the tune of another $3 billion that could be unraveled. But this doesn't just stop there. It's the weirdest. This is the weirdest thing that Trump could have possibly done at this moment in time. He's essentially required that companies no longer outsource. He's removed outsourcing from Hollywood. That's exactly what this is targeted at, is pulling all that money from foreign countries who've offered glorious exceptions to spending and pulled it all back into the U.S. One foul swoop has changed everything, including perhaps Hollywood's survival. This is not going to affect anybody but the studios directly, at least negatively. It's going to positively affect people who, I guess, work in the United States in the film industry, which covers, I don't even know now, maybe 11 southern states in the United States. You think that's about right?
That's the other thing, Culture. They're saying that this will bring jobs back to California. And, well, it should. It must. But as a percentage, one would assume that the acceleration to places like North Carolina and Austin, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, that would move much quicker now because California has made it so inhospitable for these companies, despite what they're doing. Their act is not together. But Culture, as we are talking to the audience out there, we have to assume that every major entertainment company is freezing productions on everything that's going on outside of the country. Like this is, and right before they have their earnings calls, this is, it's amazing.
It's incredible. And what's so funny is they were trying to draw fake fear just a few weeks ago, especially on, if you saw the what's it called, Vulture article about 3 weeks ago. We're trying to call out that this would be a problem for advertisements, right? In that the Trump tariffs would hit Hollywood under the guise of advertising dollars,
Sure.
right? And in many ways, the tariffs do this particular promised thing. It brings production back to the U.S. It's also going to bring commercial production back to the U.S. In fact, there will be no incentive at all that can eclipse 100% tariff to not make all of these things in the United States again. You don't think this is it's targeted in so many different ways. I don't even think you and I perceive what this is about to do to
and listen, culture. To put this in perspective, I mean, we're going to cover the Gina Carano lawsuit.
We are.
It has the potential to change how studios hire and fire people according to their political beliefs. Whether or not they can do that, it could transform Hollywood in forcing them to allow conservatives and moderates to be part of their productions.
Yes.
We're going to cover the Blake Lively stuff, right?
Yes.
That is a horrible situation for Marvel on the level of Amber Heard 2.0. But culture, this is at least 100 times bigger than both of those combined.
Yes.
I mean, I can't express what he has done to them. And so long as they don't have the details, they can't move because they're like rats in a terrarium that don't know where the snake is. They don't know where it is. They don't know what they can do. And they don't even know if the movies that are going to come out in a month are going to be tariffed.
Well,
They don't even know when the tariff begins. Does it begin on new stuff? Does it count on things that they've already begun? Is it going to hit stuff that's already done but yet has not yet hit the box office? They have no details, so thus they are paralyzed. Let's go down to Variety. They've got the questions here.
Wow.
Gene Maddow. 7 major questions about Trump's plan to tariff foreign films. Says, will he do it? Trump only said he was authorizing, right? Doesn't matter at this moment. What matters is he's put it out there. So long as they think that it might happen in any kind of immediacy, they are financially responsible. They have a fiduciary responsibility to not screw over their companies by spending vast sums of money that could be doubled in expense. Can he do that? Okay, this is the question for you. For previous tariffs, Trump has claimed authority under the International Emergency and Economic Powers Act of 1977.
sure.
Gives the president broad powers to regulate foreign trade in cases of national emergency. The president has invoked the act on the theory that trade imbalances are a national emergency.
True.
In his truth on Sunday night, he argued that runaway production is a national security threat, but did not spell out the legal authority to impose a tariff. Culture, what do you think? Can he declare a national emergency with
the law is so ambiguous. It even talks about, or it alludes to propaganda and many other types of things. So ambiguity is his friend. Not to mention the fact that it's all the words that are being used that are just adjectives. Primarily, this is a war of adjectives. He's basically turned the mainstream media and all of their corrupted nature on themselves because he's pursuing the Deadline article says he's pursuing 100% tariffs. I mean, it's almost as if like the ambiguity of the words and the very nature of the language being used is the operable conversation and not necessarily whether or not he has the authority to do it, which he's going to naturally assume because of the ambiguity of the law that he's utilizing.
And even if it gets in the courts, culture, these companies are still stuck. They can't go forward with these productions overseas, or at least many of them. Like you can go do I don't know this, but I think that you could go do a location shoot for cheap and then get your crew back over here as fast as possible.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't spend, $100 million on a production overseas anymore because now it costs $200 million
or more.
Right.
Can you imagine what Disney's about to spend just specifically on the Doomsday film itself, right? Which doesn't even have a finished script yet, bro.
So let's assume it has $700 million in production because it's insane. It's probably going to be the most expensive ever. Let's assume 300 of that is in production costs overseas. That's less than half. So I think we're being generous. That's an additional $300 million. So you go from $700 million in production costs alone to $1 billion with the tariffs. I mean, it's crazy. Okay, would he do it? Talks about the intellectual property. You've already discussed that to some degree.
Yeah.
When would he do that? This is the big one. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning openings on May 23rd. It was filmed primarily in the UK.
Right.
Is it subject to a tariff? Is it grandfathered in? When does this start to bite? We don't know. Hang on just a second. What about TV? Trump's
yeah.
truth only talks about movies, but in recent years, more TV production has gone overseas as well.
Yeah.
It's not, listen, I'm not worried about the shows. I don't think that's what he's, right now, I don't think that's what he's talking about. Although I'll guarantee you that Hollywood is ready to fall down before him and say, oh, for the love of God, please just let it be movies. But streaming, there's no reason that he can't do this to streaming movies.
Right. No, look, this is the total nightmare that they didn't anticipate. And because it will have to be fought out in the courts, whether or not this is legal. Do you know how long this is going to drag out?
Oh, it'd take 2 years.
Easily.
Yeah.
And there's a series of judges that it will pass through.
This would go to the Supreme Court. There's no doubt. If they
eventually,
it's SCOTUS.
And SCOTUS is going to say, well, this particular law is constitutional, so we can't help you.
Yeah.
This law has actually been challenged a couple of times, if memory serves, but setting aside that conversation for now, I'm just going to say if they went after, if he threatened or suggested that TV was going to be a part of this, you realize how quickly Hollywood would change its tune. These studios cannot survive pushing the cultural propaganda that they've been spitting out recently if they find themselves under like the scrutiny of these kinds of tariffs. They'd be stretched. They would say, what can we do for this not to happen to us? And I believe that the linchpin in that one would be you can't make any more of this nonsense identitarian political content anymore that's very pro X kinds of politics.
Okay. Hold on a second, Culture, because me and you are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about it because this is going through my head right now.
Yeah.
Folks, we're not here to tell you Trump is right, wrong, anything in between. You go decide. You're the highest IQ person out there. You go decide your politics.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm trying to tell you, though. Trump has figured out the tariff thing in a way that no president ever has.
Nope.
Because what he's realized is he can declare something a national emergency. It'll go through the courts, all that. He could go to the gaming industry, for example, because the gaming industry is 14 times the size of the film industry.
Yep.
Culture, he could go to the gaming industry and say, any game that features X, Y, and Z, talking about woke stuff, DEI, et cetera.
Sure. Yeah.
Any game that features that is going to receive a 100% tariff.
Yeah.
And it's over. It ends tomorrow. Now, I don't know that that's the right thing to do in terms of free speech in the market. I'm simply saying that he has figured out he can do this. And he has tremendous power now over what these private companies can do and public companies.
And here's the thing. I mean, all he has to do is demonstrate a national security threat of some sort, which I would say is the propaganda that's spread by the entities that perhaps are not with the United States so much. But the gaming industry has massive exposure because they're constantly pushing this stuff. And in a lot of situations, I'll use Dustborn as like the thing that I'll reference. That was supported by a foreign government. So there would be no way they could push back against that. It was given all these monies to essentially drive these kinds of ideas and policies into the United States.
Right. And
you're free. Right. But the free speech challenge wouldn't even land because there's nothing saying you can't produce it. You'll just have to pay a tariff.
Right.
It's an interesting conversation, and I think that regardless, the Supreme Court would have to weigh in, but I don't think any of these studios have the time nor money to languish in the court system for multiple years. Right. It's the same situation with television and film. I like I said, whether or not you agree with the current administration or not, this is probably the most interesting thing that I've seen. And, for whatever I think of Grace Randolph's opinion, I think she's recognizing that Hollywood could be in for a big surprise and at the same time be saved by these very same decisions.
Well, some companies would be saved and others are in deep, deep, deep trouble because the bigger your budgets are, the more this hurts you, especially if those budgets are being spent overseas. Well, I can think of a certain mouse that is extremely leveraged into international productions. Now, Culture, I want to clarify for everybody out there. You and I are not weighing in on whether President Trump should do this. We're not weighing in on whether or not this is a violation of the freedom of speech.
Right.
We're not weighing in on whether or not this is improperly affecting the free market in a way that should not occur. No, set us all that aside, folks. That's not where we're going.
No.
We're looking at what he is doing, analyzing the impact of what it will do, but we're not going to the rightness or wrongness. This is a pragmatic conversation we're having today. And pragmatically, right now, across all of America, entertainment companies are rapidly reassessing fundamental parts of their company in a way that never happens. Never happens. And so this is going to be a week to watch. Culture, I'll give you the last word. To me, this feels like, especially with the CBS thing, it looks like he's going to get a settlement probably this week, maybe next week with CBS. We don't know that, but we're leaning into that, I would say.
Yeah,
it looks to me like a lot of these companies thought, the 100 days is over. The first 100 days of Trump has come to an end. We've made it. And then, oh my gosh. I mean, this is one of the most transformative things, rightly or wrongly, one of the most transformative things that has ever been put to Hollywood. And they don't even have the details yet. They're just stuck.
They are, and that's actually the beauty of it all. Whether or not you admire the situation itself from the administration, you have to admire the timing. The timing is key here, folks. It's the thing I have focused on from the very beginning. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have all these wonderful quarterly meetings, but you're not going to be able to say anything. And if you say anything, it's got to be very carefully worded. I mean, as it is, CBS, Paramount / Skydance merger weighs in the balance for them. You look at Disney, they're already in big trouble and already have been put in a corner right now and have been put on notice that all their big productions are at risk. You have Comcast Universal, who, does a lot of business in a lot of different places around the world. And while they're probably less of a target for this, they're probably not too thrilled about this move either. And I think the timing of this is brilliant because it puts some of the most influential media folks in a very shifting sands position that they're going to be very uncomfortable with. I don't know, Pro, what do you think?
I think that the first term Trump administration was very careful for all that was claimed, they were very hesitant to do big things that really shook society and the nation and tested the presidential powers. For all the claims otherwise, and all you have to do is compare it to a moment like this to see the difference. This is the kind of thing that they can challenge it. It can go to SCOTUS. It will. If he really does 100% tariffs on the overseas productions, then I can't even begin to tell you how big this is. You're talking about entire giant studio complexes go dark, hundreds of millions and billions of dollars of investments, worthless, so long as these tariffs exist. You would see a vast ramp up as quickly as they possibly can. Manhattan Project level for the entertainment industry, ramp up of trying to get enough studio capacity in places like Atlanta, Georgia. California on the cusp of losing out because they didn't fix their incentives in time. It's incredible. And I'm not here to tell you good or bad, right or wrong. I'm not getting into the policy side of it. We're here to analyze the entertainment side of it. And it is a maelstrom. And it is impressive. It is impressive in the way that an avalanche is impressive to watch here in this moment, to watch and know that we saw a little crack form in a mountain and we're about to see the snow come ricocheting down, and we're just watching it. Culture, thank you for joining us this morning. This is a video I've never done one like this in my life. I don't know that we'll ever do one again, but we're going to cover this because, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for having me, Pro. This was a fun conversation. This we don't even know. This is barely the beginning of what this conversation is going to be. I can't wait for the next couple weeks for what it becomes.
I'm excited. Culture, thank you for joining us, folks. Get over there to the Culture Casino YouTube channel. He's the hardest working man on YouTube, and I mean it. Folks, also go from being a passive to an active listener. Join the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. Tell us, is it overblown? Is it not enough? What do you think? Is it good, bad, ugly? We're not going to weigh in on the political side, but you can. Folks, like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. And join us for a special edition Pro Show this evening at 10 p.m. Eastern. We're covering not only what we thought we would cover, which is the Thunderbolts final tally for the weekend, but, well, I guess the fact that Hollywood is utterly transformed now in ways that we can't even understand. As the news breaks, we'll be here. Come back for live coverage if we need to. We can go live at any time. We're here and ready to go. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Oh no. Lauren's gonna be sad again. He's texted me last night about how bad the Odyssey's gonna be. That guy needs a pick-me-up.
Ah, Lauren's feeling down in the dumps again, huh? Sounds like he's feeling forlorn. Nice setup, Floral.
Wilton, don't you have a bridge to haunt or something? Leave Lauren alone. He's not even here to deal with your nonsense.
Well, 'cause he's all alone. There's no one there beside him. I bet he's just lamenting about his boring life. You know, he probably needs WDW Pro to give him some good news. Like that Jonas was fired.
You're a pest, you know that? Lauren's fine. He's probably just, like, nervous or something. He's not sulking or anything.
Sulking? Oh, actually, he's probably just languishing. Picture it. Lorne staring at the movie screen. Lamenting that he has to be there. And then the film ends, and like a Christmas ornament that fell off a tree, he's shattered.
You're weird.
You know, I should troll the WDW Pro comments that Lauren's so down he's... Wait a minute. Lauren's so down, he's practically Lawrencescape art.
Yeah, and I'd be thrilled if you'd leave and do that. For a few hours. Actually, it'll help Pro in the algorithm by you leaving comments, or noise, or whatever, on all of Pro's videos.
Noise? I am a maestro of mirth. Lauren's my new canvas. Like a mom folding laundry. Oh, that one sucked.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go check out the next TPP article and get launched into the stratosphere of information. Nobody wants to be lonely. Everybody hurts sometimes.